Right now you like pow, but when I'm done you're gonna be like pillar pow.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the legendary loot midgets down in Sawtooth, because there's been something going on there for quite some time over the years. A lot of people still don't know about it. It's basically what you do is you go down to Sawtooth, open up all the boxes, and when you go back you don't have to open up all the boxes again, and the loot midgets are just running around. So I'm going to be running around with my Siren again. This is a binder class setup, mainly with the Moxie shotgun, which is pretty good. Whatever else weapons you have in any of the other slots, that's up to you. It's not conditional, and nor is the shotgun, but I just like the shotgun with this build because it allows you to really run into the faces of the enemy, and that's why I call this a blitzkrieg, because with this binder mod and setup you can literally just go running around killing the enemy, be right in the face of the enemies, because you're using the shotgun. Gives you a couple of % health back, and you've also got life tap, which once you got a kill is going to give you more percentages of life back when you shoot the enemy. You've also got elated and sustenance on the go, and inertia for the shields, so there's a lot of shield and health stuff. So what you want to be doing is running around Sawtooth as quick as you can, just kill everything. It doesn't really matter what kind of system you have, you may differ. I prefer to jump down to this bit down the bottom, kill everything, and then go round kind of left to right, kind of anti-clockwise. So you get into your own system, and once you've done it enough times you'll learn where all the loot boxes are, and predominantly everything here. There's only really a couple of loot boxes in this whole cauldron area that don't produce loot midgets, so it's kind of handy to learn exactly where they all are as you're running around. If you're not new to the game, then you'll know it anyway, but believe it or not, people that have been playing it for 2-3 years still don't know about this respawning loot midget scenario. I can't remember when I found out. I've probably found out about when I was playing on the PS3, I don't know, a couple of years ago. But I never really used to come down to Sawtooth much, but after you got the new legendary mods, your characters turn into a more badass. These are the things you want to be looking out for, is these heavy nomads. You've got the Goliath blasters and the heavy nomads. Apart from the other enemies, I mean, they are the real dangers. There's not really too many of them that are a bigger problem. And particularly with the Siren, just been able to phase lock things and hit and smash. But yeah, the heavy nomads, when you phase lock them, if you're using Maya, you can actually look at the weapons that they've got on their back. And I've noticed that quite a lot of them are running around with TD, or I think that they're either TD or Vladoff rocket launchers, and they look like what's his name? They look like the Vladoff rocket launchers, and so what they'll do is they'll just unload an entire magazine on you pretty quick, so you've got to watch out for them. And the Goliath blasters will actually have 2 of them. They'll gunzerk with 2 rocket launchers. That was the Topney I was trying to think of. Yeah, so when you phase lock the heavy nomads, I've seen them with Topneys, like corrosive Topneys and stuff. So you really got to watch out for them. So as I said, just want to run around, take your own system. It's best to come down the bottom first and then go around the top, because it's kind of a natural path that leads you out. And it really doesn't take too long to do this. I like the chain lightning because 1, it takes shields down, but 2, it also highlights enemies around, so if there's enemies behind things or just out of your line of sight, you'll notice it chaining off and hitting other enemies. Really, really handy weapon to have. And not only that, if you've got a Moxie weapon in your hand, every enemy it hits will give you life back at the same time, so if your shield's down, then it's going to create the dot damage and instant heal effect. So from my point of view, it's always been one of my favourite grenades in the game. So under 5 minutes, we cleared everything out. Went into fight for your life once because of that heavy nomad in the ultimate jumping on my head. But you can see, I mean, with the binder mod and the heartbreaker, it's good. But the antagonist shield, my favourite shield now, particularly for mobbing, it's an exceptionally good shield. Because A, it does damage reduction, bullets bounce off you back towards the enemies, and it slags the enemies. Or it doesn't always slag the enemies, but it has a good chance of them. So if there's enemies that are shooting you out of your line of sight, you turn around and all of a sudden you'll see that they've got slag. So once you've cleared out the enemies, again, get into your own process, go around, clear everything up. And this is where we're now going to be looking for our loot midgets. I prefer to do this after killing the enemies. You might want to do it at the same time, but again, it's down to your own preference how you do it. Again, what I'll do is I'll go from left to right. Now this main platform that we originally jumped down onto, this is quite a good place for loot midgets. As I say, over time, once you get used to it, you kind of get familiar with certain places. These 2 bins here, they're normally fairly prolific, and these lockers, the lockers around the area are very, very good. And as you'll notice, I didn't quite get my phase locked back in time for that one. He's shooting me with a Torque shotgun, so he takes me down pretty quick. But as long as you've got a decent, powerful weapon on you, you should be able to get out of fight for your life easy enough. They don't tend to run off and hide, the Marauder ones. Unlike the Loot Willy jet loaders who fly off. These are pretty good. They'll normally stay in your face and gives you a good chance for a second win. But this is why it helps to have something like maybe a rocket launcher handy, because if you do need a second win, the last thing you want to do is go off back up to the top as you're doing this. So whatever powerful weapons you've got, it's definitely worth having it handy just in case. Kind of disrupts the system of doing it. So as I said, go around, clear everything. The dial bins and these little silvery grey loot lockers, they're definitely the ones that you really do get a lot of loot midgets out of. As you'll see, I had a really good run this time. Unfortunately, loot wise, the drop rate is pretty crap, to say the least. It always has been. But it's really not good, and it didn't change with the recent update. When they updated, they gave legendary drops a higher rate. It doesn't affect legendary loot midgets. It does not, guarantee you that. I would like to see them have like a 1 in 3 chance of dropping something. But in all the days I've been running around here, this past 3 days, testing out different builds, different weapons, I've probably killed, I don't know, 60, 70, 80? It's hard to tell. But I've only had 2 weapons. I think 2 weapons dropped from all them. One was an Avenger, which was level 71, and one was a Thunderball Fist, which was level 71. So don't get too excited thinking you're going to get a huge amount of great loot from them. It's RNG, and you may get lucky, but I've not had any luck. I just like it anyway. It's good fun. Coming out of Sawtooth is a really good place to test your character, test your build. Now, I come across this platform last and come down to this point so I can drop down onto this slope, which then leads you back around to the top. So that's what I was saying before. I drop down onto the platform on the other side, just over there. Leave this bit till last so you can come around. I tend to change to a corrosive pimpernel at this point, just to get rid of the buzzards, but it doesn't matter what weapon you use. As long as it's corrosive, it's going to be much better taking down the buzzards. Again, go around here, kill all the enemy, open up every single little crate, nook and cranny, all the way down to the very far end, because this little end here, this is pretty good as well. These lockers particularly, they're very good. I've caught a lot out of them. As you'll see down this far right end, that's a good little place. Make sure you open all. And as soon as you get to those lockers there and this little bit, you will see more enemies spawning. So as you go down, they will spawn in this place, then they will spawn behind you again. So kind of just get to be aware of how many spawn at this end. And as you'll see, they will be popping out all over the place around Sawtooth Cauldron. All the way down to Boombringer, around Boombringer, everywhere. In every single little part of Sawtooth. It's probably one of the best places in the game. Definitely one of the best places in the game. Apart from the wildlife preservation, which we all know about, because it's the main place for spawning loot midgets. So once you've been around, open up every single box. Do not save and quit. Purpose of doing this. Now what you want to do is spend about 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes, depending on how long you want to spend. Go to the Arid Nexus, for loot. Tubby hunting. Go down to the Dust, Frostburn Canyon. I'll do one on Frostburn Canyon because there's a really good loot run around there. Three Horns Valley, anywhere where you're going to get skags and stuff like that. So go off, have a quick blast, try and get some, legendary comms, UVHM particularly. I'd say the Arid Badlands, this area down here is normally pretty good because there's a lot of skags and stuff very close. Now when you come back to Sawtooth, there we go. As you look down to the platform, if there's one there, you'll see him standing right in the middle. Now you'll see two red dots on the minimap. As you'll see, there's two of them. So they will just be running around. Basically what they do is they spawn. They're a random enemy spawn. But because they spawn in loot boxes, they're open and they will be running around. You can just see here, there's now a green weapon with the cash. You've got a blue weapon with the ammo and a green weapon with the cash. So it's a double spawn. What they do is it just refreshes and spawns more. And as you're running around, the loot midgets are now going to be running around on their own, ready to greet you and pop cap in your ass. I've only confronted 2 in any one go. I've not had 3 yet. That'll be fun. Although I've had 2 loot midgets and 2 heavy nomads in one little place, and I didn't die. I managed to survive. But the Siren can survive situations. It's quite extraordinary. And since she's had the buff, she's turned into an incredible badass. So as you'll see here on the minimap, if you look at the minimap now, there's one red dot. Normally the legendary loot midgets will always show up first because their line of sight is massive. So they will track you down. They will track you down pretty quick. Once you get close to them or other enemy spawn areas, then you will see other enemies spawning. But generally, if you keep an eye on the minimap, the first red dot that appears will be the loot midget. And as I'd said before, when you go across the top, when you open the bins, now you can see a red dot. Where is he? That's because he was on top. So he actually saw us fighting below, massive line of sight, awareness, and he just jumps down. So quite often the ones on the top area will jump down and you don't have to go across the top, but that's Sawtooth, and that's the loot midget run. There's other enemies down here, tubby midgets, loot midget psychos, loot midgets Goliaths. So have good fun. I'll see you guys down soon. See you. Goodbye.